Assalamualaikum. How are you students? I hope all of you are well and consuming this time very well in your studies. Okay, today's our topic is laxatives, but before starting laxatives, we should have a complete concept of constipation. Assalamualaikum. I'm Dr. Nilofer Yusuf Faraj, Assistant Professor from Department of Pharmacology. And today we will learn about constipation, its treatment, what are laxatives, how they are classified, what are their mechanism of action, their clinical uses, adverse effects. And if we are using a laxative, then what should be properties of an ideal laxative? What is laxative abuse and how it should be treated? So students, what is constipation? Here I want to say one thing. This is very important topic, ठीक है, from your GIT system. 30 to 40% chances are there कि इसमें से question आपको exams में आए and it would be mostly a SCQ in terms of classification or mechanism of action. So it is very important topic yet very easy. So what is constipation? Passage of hard dry bowel movements, usually fewer than 3 times a week. What are various symptoms? There will be painful bowel movements, bloating will be there, patient will feel uncomfortable and sluggish. As a rule, if more than 3 days pass without a bowel movement, the intestinal contents may harden and a person may have difficulty or even pain during defecation or their elimination. Straining during bowel movements or the feeling of incomplete evacuation may also be reported as constipation. ठीक है, तो we have to rule out what exactly constipation is. Not straining or a feeling of incomplete evacuation. This may lead to laxative abuse. Patient will take laxatives where it is not needed and it will worsen the situation. What are some common misconceptions about constipation? That a bowel movement every day is necessary? No, it is. But every other person has its own bowel movements or bowel habits. Some people evacuate daily, whereas some defecate after 1 day, after 48 hours, like this. Okay, that weight stored in the body are absorbed and are dangerous to health or shorten the lifespan. These misconceptions have led to a marked overuse and abuse of laxatives. Is constipation serious? What do you think? Yes, it is. It may signal and be the only noticeable symptom of a serious underlying disorder, such as cancer. But it may lead to some complications, such as hemorrhoids, fissures. Here you have to note this point. Constipation is a symptom, not a disease. You will not label patient that he's having a disease. Constipation is just a symptom. ठीक है? So you have to note this point. Whenever writing down the history of a patient, you have to write this point as not a diagnostic measure but as a clinical presentation. What causes constipation? What do you think? Eating too little fiber? Of course. We are living in the era of fast food. Everybody likes fast food, hoteling, and that may lead to constipation. Eating too little fiber, not drinking enough liquids, lack of exercise, sanitary lifestyles, of course, and lack of physical activity. Other than those reasons, there may be some change in routine, such as traveling, older age. In older age, there is lower metabolism and there is not proper evacuation or defecation. of the intestines, frequent use of laxatives, certain diseases or conditions, and of course medications, especially in older age. When old people are on many medications, they complain or they present with the symptom of constipation. These medications are these medications are taken for pain, such as narcotics, opioids, antacids containing aluminum, antidepressants, iron supplements, or diuretics like water pills. Other causes may be imaginary constipation, irritable bowel disease, syndrome or disease, poor bowel habits, hormonal disturbances. In pregnancy, it is very remarked. Fissures and hemorrhoids, mechanical compression. Person having constipation usually represents like this. His GIT road is blocked somewhere over here in intestines and he is not able to properly evacuate or defecate. What do you think about it? How should this road blockage can be, GIT blockage can be avoided or treated? There would be some treatment, isn't it? What can you do? Eat more fiber. Of course, there was lack of fiber intake before. That's why a person was suffering from constipation. More beans, whole grains, and bran cereals, fresh fruits, vegetables. Limit food with no fiber, as we often, especially me, do the breakfast with bread. We should avoid this. It has no it is full of sugar content and it has no fiber. It is really unhealthy, but we are used to it now. What can we do? Cheese, meat, sweets, processed food, canned foods का आजकल बहुत रवाज है. We should avoid them. Other causes are other causes, we should drink more water and the liquids. Be sure to drink at least 8 to 10 glasses of water. This is also a key to healthy lifestyle, to drink a lot of water every day. Liquid helps keep the stools soft, no doubt. What else we should do? We should become more physically active. Over here, I want to add one thing. If you offer your prayers regularly, then there is very ease at defecating. Wherever we go in ruku during our namaz or whenever we do sajda, we have a very good bowel movement at that time. You can even do it yourself practically and feel the difference. ठीक है जी? Become more physically active. What can you do? Allow yourself enough time to have a bowel movement. If you get in a hurry and ignore the urge to have a bowel movement, it can cause constipation. Fiber supplements are best choice. Absorb water and make stool softer, and they are safe to use every day. So fiber intake should be increased at every cost. What can you do? We can give laxatives only if they are necessary. If dietary modification can deal with constipation, then we should go for dietary modification first. Laxatives can cause poor absorption of vitamins and minerals, loss of water, sodium and potassium, and they can also damage to your intestines. How pharmacologically we will manage constipation? We can administer laxatives, cathartics, and purgatives. Here the question arises that we have got such a long list of laxatives. Which to give? Which one is the better option? Let's see. First of all, think about these three words. Whenever there is word laxatives, there is slash and the word purgatives are given along, or cathartics. They are used oftenly. ठीक है? So what's the difference between in these three terms? If they are same, then why we just use one instead of three words? Wasting three words in vocabulary, our vocabulary. Any idea? Think over it. Yes, you are right. Three of them have slightly different actions, so they are they work for the same reason but with little slight different mechanism of action. Laxatives promote a soft stool. Cathartics result in a soft watery stool with some cramping. See, laxatives there is no cramping, but with cathartics there is slight cramping. Whereas purgatives are harsh cathartics, causing a watery stool with abdominal cramping. So mild are laxatives, then moderate comes cathartics. Say stimulant and strong effects are of purgatives. They are different in their terms of intensity of action. Types of laxatives. According to their mode of action, they are bulk forming laxatives, osmotic laxatives, stimulant laxatives, fecal softeners and lubricants. And then comes the chloride channel activator, opioid receptor antagonist, serotonin receptor antagonist, and guanylate cyclase C agonist. This is very important question. I'll say that it is very important university question. So do cram the classification of laxatives according to their mode of action. Bulk forming laxatives. They are natural, like plant gum, agar, psyllium, and bran. Then comes the synthetic cellulose compounds, methylcellulose and carboxymethylcellulose. And they are complexed polysaccharide polymers. How do they work? Look at this picture and have an idea what is happening. Yes, they are being absorbed into water. Absorb water into the intestine, increasing fecal bulk and peristalsis. Look, water is being absorbed and increasing the fecal bulk. I'm repeating how they work. What is the mechanism of action of bulk forming laxatives? They absorb water into the intestine, increasing fecal bulk and peristalsis. Dissolve or swell in the intestines. What happens to stimulate peristalsis and let the intestine evacuate or let the body evacuate of the fecal contents. Their onset of action is within 8 to 24 hours. Peak action comes after or within 3 days. Here's the picture of Ispergol. It is commonly used laxative in our homes. In every other home, Ispergol husk is present. ठीक है जी, what is this actually? It is bulk forming laxative. Now you have better idea what kind of laxatives come under the heading of bulk forming laxatives. Not absorbed from the intestines into the body, so they are safe for long-term use. Safe for elderly patients, helpful in patients with irritable bowel syndrome, diverticulosis and colostomies. ठीक है जी, Ispergol husk. Do remember it. But while taking bulk laxatives like Ispergol, we should take some precautionary measures. And what would be they? Should be mixed in a glass of water or juice, stirred and drunk immediately, followed by a half to a full glass of water. Here the question arises, why with water or juice? Although we practice it with yogurt, we have to mix Ispergol in yogurt and eat. Although I myself take it, I used to take during the month of Ramadan. Because why we take water or juice? Because insufficient fluid intake causes the drug to solidify in GI tract, resulting in intestinal obstruction. It's whenever you mix Isperol in yogurt, you see that after some time it starts swelling. Same thing happens in our intestine. If we will not take water, bulk of water immediately, what will happen? It will they will be swollen, solidified, thinned in our GI tract, and it will lead to intestinal obstruction. Then comes osmotic laxatives. What do they include? Salts or saline products, TKG, lactulose or glycerine. Glycerine suppositories are very common. You must have seen for the elder patients or for the children in our houses even. They're gel-like substances kept in fridge. You must have noticed that thing too. Well, this is Dufelac, very common in practice. In every other hospital in medicine ward, this thing is must. You have seen this green cover medicine over there. You should be knowing what is this. That's why I have put these pictures over here, because we have to stay in Pakistan. We have to serve patients in Pakistan. So we should be knowing what is being practiced and why it's being practiced at even your stage. Because if any person from your home asks you, are we taking this, is it all right or not, you should defend the point. Okay, you should be knowing what actual mechanism of action is behind it. So this is Dufelac syrup, and other commonly used in our homes laxative is Cramifene, and it looks like this. Okay, what is Dufelac? Dufelac is having lactulose, and what we said, it is osmotic laxative. And Cramifene is having cream of magnesia, and it is also osmotic laxative. First we discussed about Isperol. It was bulk forming, whereas now we are discussing osmotic laxatives. Let's see. Commonly used are glycerine, lactulose, saline products, and Cramifene includes in saline products like this. You can see magnesium citrate, magnesium hydroxide, milk of magnesia, magnesium oxide, magnesium sulfate, sodium biphosphate, clean enema. It is very much in practice. Operatively, we give patients clean enema to clear their colon completely from the fecal content. Sodium phosphate. Now, how do osmotic laxatives work? What is their mechanism of action? Glycerin suppositories, they are just like gel shape in appearance. In reality, let's see how they act. Acts like lactulose, increases water in the feces and large intestine. Then comes lactulose. Remember the picture of Dufelac syrup? Let's see. Draws water into intestine and promotes water and electrolytes retention. Decreases serum ammonia level, and that's why it is very much in practice for the patients who are in hepatic encephalopathy or who are with CLDs, represent with CLDs. So you should make sure to give them lactulose syrups. ठीक है जी? They just absorb ammonia in the intestines and then get it eliminated in the end. So they decreases serum ammonia level, whereas hepatic encephalopathy, there are raised ammonia levels in our body. Hyperosmolar salts or saline products. इसमें अभी मैंने I showed you the picture of Cramifene syrup. So what is the insoluble? Remain in lumen, pull water into colon and increase water in the feces to increase bulk, increase peristalsis. Therapeutic uses of osmotic laxatives. They are used for the preparation of bowel, for colonoscopy, sigmoidoscopy, and barium and enema. जैसे अभी I told you that clean enema is mostly used as pre-operatively in hospital settings. Lactulose is being given in liver diseases, especially to the patients of hepatic encephalopathy. Now, whenever you go for your medical rounds, medical wards rotation, notice these things in medical ward, medicine ward. ठीक है जी? Then you may ask me or tell me, okay, we saw that a patient was having hepatic encephalopathy, how it helped in treating the patient of hepatic encephalopathy. Let's see what are the side effects of osmotic laxatives. Hypermagnesemia, ड्राउजीनेस होती है, वीकनेस, paralysis, complete heart block, hypotension, flushing, respiratory depression. Whereas lactulose has side effects such as flatulence, diarrhea, abdominal cramps, nausea, vomiting, and disturbance in diabetes, sugar levels. So what should be the precautions? Patients with congestive heart failure, kidney disease, and high blood pressure should not use laxatives that contain sodium. And you very well know this reason why they should avoid sodium, not to be discussed again. After bulk forming of osmotic laxatives come stimulant or irritant laxatives. Here's the classification that includes castorol, anthraquinone, contains senna, cascara, and senna is nowadays very common and in practice by the name senna makki leaves. So they come under stimulant or irritant laxatives. I don't know whether they will treat the COVID-19 or not, but they do have very strong irritant cramping effect. So try to avoid it, not use it in case we will not have corona. If we'll have senna makki leaves, ठीक है जी? It's a laxative. Then comes diphenyl methanes. Bisacodyl is very common in practice. Let's see how do they work. What is their mechanism of action? They increase water and electrolyte secretion by the mucosa by increasing peristalsis, by stimulating sensory nerve endings in GI mucosa. You see how this works? They are working on sensory by stimulating sensory nerve endings in GI mucosa. Where both of them were, what were they doing? They were increasing the peristalsis by bulk forming and by attracting the water. The feces are moved through the bowel too rapidly to allow colonic absorption of fecal water, so a watery stool is eliminated. They are very high in intensity, irritant stimulant. So what are they doing? They are passing out watery stool. Here are some of the examples. Bisacodyl, they are used in form of tablets or gel capsules, can be given orally. Suppositories are very common, or enema. Onset of action is 6 to 10 hours, but suppository usually work within 15 to 30 minutes. Then comes senna makki leaves, senna makki के पत्ते, ठीक है जी? So how do they function? Drug passes unchanged into the colon, and they are converted into active compounds. The active compounds then absorb and have a direct stimulant action of mesenteric plexus. As we said, they stimulate sensory nerve supply. Contraction of colon muscles occur. Its onset of action is 6 to 8 hours. Then comes castor oil. Castor oil is very useful for hair growth, for eyelashes growth. Apart from it, it has strong purgative action. It is hydrolyzed in upper small intestine. It is a local irritant that increases intestinal motility, and it may mostly works within 2 to 6 hours. Therapeutic uses of stimulant or irritant laxatives. They are used for the cleansing of the colon, for colonoscopies, barium enemas, and intestinal surgeries. Well, their side effects are nausea, abdominal cramps, weakness, reddish brown urine, fluid and electrolyte imbalance, because they are very strong and pass watery fluids which do not and they also do not let absorb minerals even in our body, and they just wash out them out of the body. Then they stimulate uterine contraction. That's why castor oil is contraindicated in pregnant women, and this may lead to spontaneous abortion, as they stimulate uterine contraction. And then comes the Sanamaka leaves. They damage nerves, loss of intestinal muscular tone. So I am repeating again and again. That's why Sanamaki leaves, because they are very too much in fashion nowadays for the treatment of COVID-19. What should be the precautions using stimulant or irritant laxatives? We should take proper precautionary measures. Do not get a habit or let us be laxative abuse of them, because what they do, they results into loss of colon function. Consequently, constipation becomes increasingly worse and unresponsive to other laxatives. They are such strong. Now comes the stool softeners, emollient laxatives. The active ingredient in most stool softener is called Glucosamine. They are mostly available in the form of gel capsules. How do they work? Prevent hardening of the feces by adding moisture to the stool. That's why we are saying the stool softeners. They are preventing the hardening of feces. Become emulsified with stool. They decrease surface tension of the fecal mass to allow water to penetrate into the stool. What are their various therapeutic uses? They are used to prevent constipation, of course. Commonly recommended for patients who should avoid straining while defecating, including patients who are recovering from abdominal, pelvic or rectal surgery. Very important, childbirth or a heart attack. Persons with high blood pressure or abdominal hernias, and patients with painful hemorrhoids or anal fissures. If their stools are softened, they will easily defecate, and they will not be stressed or strained out. Precautions for using lubricant laxatives such as mineral oil should be avoided in patients taking blood thinners such as Coumadin. Mineral oil decreases the absorption of vitamin K. It should not be taken during pregnancy, since it may inhibit vitamin absorption and decrease the availability of vitamin K to the fetus, and it may cause pneumonia if it leaks into the lungs. Commonly used things in practice are enemas and suppositories. Let's see what are these. Therapeutic uses of enemas and suppositories is to relieve constipation and rectal fecal infection. ठीक है जी? In conjunction with oral laxatives and cleansing the colon in preparation of barium enema studies. You can see 3 pictures over there. The upper one and the lower one are of enemas, whereas the middle one is suppositories. It is just to show you how it looks, and this you might have seen in surgery wards or the gynae wards a lot. Microenema, we have said that they contain Ducosate, and Ducosate was क्या था Ducosate? Yes, they were stool softeners. They are microenema. Ducolate's suppository, which contains Bisacodyl, and then comes the clean enema, which contains sodium pyrophosphate. Then comes chloride channel activators. Most in practice drug is lubiprostone. Its mechanism of action is very important. It do come in exams. Note my words, please. Acts by stimulating type 2 chloride channels present in small intestine. What they do, they increase chloride-rich fluid secretion into the intestine, which stimulates intestinal motility. Further, it shortens intestinal transit time. but it may cause nausea due to delayed gastric emptying. Here comes opioid receptor antagonist. I know you have studied opioids before, and one of the major side effects of opioids was its ability to cause constipation, and you very much well remember on which receptors it was acting to cause constipation. Just have time and think over it, which receptors were involved for constipation. I asked most of the students in Viva too. Opioid causes constipation mediated through intestinal mu-opioid receptors. Commercially, they are available as methyl naltrexone and alvimopam. Block only peripheral mu-opioid receptors. Sorry, it is alvimopam, not PAM. It's just a mistake. Ignore it. Block only peripheral mu-opioid receptors, don't readily cross blood-brain barriers, so have no impact on central analgesic effects of opioids. So if we give them with opioids, it will not interfere with their analgesic effect. ठीक है जी? They will only block peripheral mu-opioid receptors which are present in our intestines. Then comes methyl naltrexone, used for opioid-induced constipation when other treatments are not effective. Alvimopam is used in some cases to shorten period of post-operative ileus after GI surgery. I just want you to confirm these spellings, as on Google they were alvimopam, whereas in book they were written alvimopam. Maybe there's some mistake in my book, but do recheck. ठीक है जी? So how we are using alvimopam? It is used in some cases to shorten period of post-operative ileus after GI surgery. It is cardiotoxic, so they are only used in hospitalized patients, whereas the laxatives like Ispaghol Husk are used and available over the counter, and they are easily used at homes. Then comes serotonin receptor antagonist, Tagacerod, cisapride, procalopride. Whereas these two upper serotonin receptor antagonists, Tagaceroid and cisapride, are obsolete now. ठीक है? They are not no more further in practice, and I'll tell you the reason. But let's see how they work. They stimulate receptors on presynaptic terminal of submucosal intrinsic afferent nerve. Enhances release of their neurotransmitters. They stimulate second order enteric neurons. Promote peristaltic reflex. These enteric neurons stimulate proximal bowel contraction and distal bowel relaxation. Tagaceroid is withdrawn as it causes serious cardiovascular adverse effects due to inhibition of serotonin receptors 1B. Then comes cisapride. It is also banned as it causes prolongation of QT interval. Whereas procalopride is still in use, and it is used for chronic constipation, and it's still under observation. Researches are being done on it. No significant adverse effects noted so far. Then comes guanylate cyclase C agonist. And the drug is linaclotide. It is agonist at guanyl cyclase C receptors present. Where they are present? They are present on luminal surface intestinal enterocytes. They activate cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance channel. They stimulate intestinal fluid secretion, and it is still being studied. However, we also use it, but it's still under studies. So we have classified laxatives. We have thoroughly studied which different classes come under classification and how they work, what are their adverse effects, and which are over-the-counter available laxatives, how should they be used, and what are their precautions which we should practice and tell our patients. Now the question arises, what should be an ideal laxative? What should be its various characteristics? So let's have a look. Pleasant to taste, so a patient can take it easily. It should be effective, not irritant like it was in case of irritant stimulant laxatives. It should not cause abdominal discomfort like it was causing in case of Sana Makhi. Should not cause drastic purgation. Should not interfere with the absorption of nutrients. Very important point. Non-addictive, non-toxic if absorbed. No serious drug interactions, and it should have minimum contraindications. What is laxative abuse or laxative dependence? As we all know, excess of everything is bad. So prolonged and habitual use of laxatives is unhealthy for us. What happens usually, laxatives clear out all of the colon. Whereas in normal defecation, all the colon is not cleared out, part of it is evacuated. So if a patient is taking laxative and after he comes back to his normal routine, he thinks that he is not evacuating to his full, not properly. There's still material left in his abdomen, in his intestines, in his colon. Let's see what happens. Laxatives mostly empty whole colon, while normal defecation empties only descending colon. Cessation of laxative after a few weeks is followed by constipation, and patient becomes convinced that he needs purgatives. When this condition comes, he is emptying only his descending colon, he thinks, he has strong belief in that because of not taking laxative, he is experiencing constipation again. So what happens if primarily it becomes physical dependence, and then it leads to psychological. And after some time it leads to atonic colon. Without laxative one cannot defecate. Steatorrhea, hypoalbuminemia, excessive secretion of calcium, osteomalacia. When there will be no calcium, then it will lead to osteomalacia of vertebral column. So it should be treated, properly treated. How? We should immediately discontinue the laxatives being used, reassure patient, psychological treatment, treat underlying cause of constipation, physical treatment if any, modify diets, his lifestyle, proper diet, exercise, bowel training, and if the laxatives are needed, so we should prescribe him bulk forming laxatives, वो भी in minimal effective doses, and of course with lot of water. So this was our today's topic, interesting and easy one. I hope आप सबको समझ आई है. So now today's assignment is classify laxatives, purgatives. ठीक है, write down the classification of laxatives and write mechanism of action of osmotic laxatives. Time for assignment is till 9:30, and if there are any questions, you are most welcome to ask me in your WhatsApp group or personally message me. Here comes the code, don't forget to read it. Your diet is not only what you eat, it's what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, the people you hang around. So be mindful of the things you put into your body, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. It was the message of the day. In fact, in other words, home take message. Good luck and have a nice day. Thank you so much.